welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to try something new and bring you along with me. I'm going to be pickling some pearl onions. I bought 2 small bags, one red, one yellow, and I put them in here. I'm going to be using my handy Bernardin canning book, and we're going to jump right in. To start today, I have all my ingredients ready to go. Then I reread my recipe and realized this is actually going to take me 2 days to do. First, we're going to peel the pearl onions. We're going to blanch them in some water on the stove that I'm going to get boiling in a minute. And then we're going to soak them in salt overnight. It says 12 hours, but not more than 18. Then we'll do the actual pickling tomorrow. I have my water boiling on the stove, and now I'm going to sort through the onions. And while I do that, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Mary, and I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I have 2 little kids, and normally I am a working mom, but right now I'm on maternity leave. I started this channel to share some gardening and cooking videos with you, and really I'm not an expert in this. I'm not a homemaker, I'm not a homesteader, but I just love doing these things. So I thought I'd bring you along and we could cook together and you could see the types of things I'm working on in my kitchen. The reason I'm experimenting with this recipe today is my husband really likes pearl onions, so I bought him 2 of those little bags for his birthday and said I would make them any way he wanted. He decided on this recipe, and so that's why I'm trying it out today. My water's at a nice rolling boil right now, so now we're going to add the onions carefully, and I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes. Here I am draining boiling water. Oh, the water's a really pretty yellow color from those onion skins. And I'm gonna put it in some cool water I have already ready here in the sink. Oh, here we go. We have those onions that have been boiled, drained, put in the cold water, and just drained again. So now they say to cut the root end, and the onion should just slip out. The inside did. Okay, pearl onion number 1. Remember when I said this was my first time making these? I'm doing something wrong. Okay, here I am back in editing, and I think these first couple onions really are a good example of how the rest of this whole experience went. I feel like I'm following the directions, and I get these onions that eventually do kind of look like pearl onions. The center pops out a little bit. I can kind of jam it back in with my finger. But it took a really long time. But I eventually did get all of these onions skinned. So a lot of them have this at the top, this like kind of dried fibrous bit. I've been cutting that off and then putting them in my pot. So we'll see if this one has it. See, even this one has a little bit of that like dried fibrous part on it. I don't know if I'm supposed to cut it off, but that just doesn't look appetizing. Like I don't eat that part of a regular like cooking onion. So I feel like it probably is something I wouldn't want to eat on a pickled pearl onion. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it is like 20 minutes later and that was a ton of work. I also drastically overestimated how many pearl onions I would get. 2 cups. We have 2 cups out of those 2 bags. This was a lot of work. If you make pearl onions regularly, how do you do it? Okay, but let's move on. So I'm gonna soak these in some salted water. It says for 12 to 18 hours. It's 3:30 p.m. right now, which means I need to get back to working on these by 9:30 tomorrow morning. That should be doable. I had measured out enough salt, assuming there'd be 4 cups, so I'm just gonna put about half of it on. And again, I'm using the recipe in the book, but I'm dividing it. So I'm gonna mix these up, and then it says to add water with the salt just to cover. All right, here's the pearl onions in that brine. They look really pretty. I think they're gonna look really nice in the jar. So I mixed the red and gold together. here. It says to put them in a cool spot, so I'm going to take them down to the basement to sit overnight, and I'll see you back in the morning. It's been 18 hours almost exactly. I'm 2 minutes over, so we'll see if that whole no more than 18 hours thing matters. This is what they look like, pretty much the same. They smell kind of strong this morning. Okay, so now we're going to drain and rinse the brine off. Ooh, salty sludge in the bottom there. Here they are, drained and rinsed. They look like what you might get in a jar of pearl onions. All right, we're gonna make the brine next. Okay, since I have such a small quantity of onions, I'm not gonna hot water bath them. We will go through these within a month. So I'm gonna wash two 250 ml jars because I wanna do one batch with the hot pepper and one without, just so we have two different flavors. So I'm gonna wash those. I'm not gonna use the new sealing top. I'm just gonna use one that I already have. I washed out my jars and decided to put the onions in before I get the pickling liquid done. I wanted to test out if I'd have enough room for them. Okay, I have to do some recipe math now, so I thought I'd tell you my logic as I go here. So the recipe calls for 16 cups of pearl onions. I only have 2, which means that I should be making 1/8 of the recipe. I've made a few recipes from this book and I've run out of brine once, and I'm worried that might happen again. So I'm actually gonna make a 1/4 recipe of the brine, and then I don't want to waste anything. So if I have leftovers, I make my coleslaw with a very similar recipe to the brine. So I would just use the brine as part of a coleslaw dressing because I still have a 1/4 head of cabbage in my fridge. So this is kind of what I do in my like mental gymnastics of canning and food prep, is trying to figure out what I have, what I need, how can I use any extra, what does that look like? So I thought I'd bring you along for that math. So despite having 1/8 of the recipe of onions, I'm going to make a 1/4 of the recipe of the brine. I can measure those. All the ingredients are on the pot. Now it goes on the stove to boil. Okay, I'm getting the hot pepper and bay leaf ready to go in. I'm just gonna put it in one jar. The reason I'm just putting it in one jar is because this is a variation that the recipe said you could do. And I've never made this one before, so I thought this would be a perfect way. We could test one that has like hot pepper and bay leaf and one that doesn't, and see which one we prefer. Although with the amount of work these pearl onions are, I'm not sure how often I'm making this recipe. Are there people out there who are regularly canning pearl onions? If so, like, what's your secret? All right, here's the brine after it's had a chance to cook. When I'm working with a brine that has floaty items like the mustard seeds and the horseradish, I like to give it a stir right before I pour, so that if they're sort of like as evenly distributed as they can be. So now I'm going to gently pour the brine over, right up to the top. I'm not super worried about head space or things like that that you normally worry about with canning, because again, these just go into my fridge. So just want to get it in so that everything's sort of like covered in the pickling liquid. And I still have a decent amount left over. I probably could have done 1/8 of the recipe. But, you know, live and learn. So, okay, here are those pickled onions. Man, they look really nice. Look how pretty those are with the purple and the gold onions. And I think this one has, yeah, the hot pepper and the bay leaf. So it'll be interesting to see. I post a lot of shorts, so I'll do a short with like a taste test update on which one our family likes better, and if I'll be making them again. But thanks for joining me for another video. If you're still here, please give this video a like and consider subscribing. Have a great day.